We'll quickly run through the few sentences we did last time and then proceed further. Beginning with the section, new section, 42nd section. A third creation now revealed its face. So until now, what was seen were gigantic vital forms, life forms, gigantic life forms, starting from small to big one, dinosaurs, sloth, mastodon, all those huge things, and it was a life which had only what one might call a vital life. Vital life. Only the impulse of life, the instinct of life, it is that which is driving the entire creation at that point of time in the process of evolution, you see. Now, the third creation here is the early entry of mind into life. It is not mind proper yet, but it is life mind. What we have got here is a life mind. Mind itself has a mind, life itself has a mind, and it is that mind which is showing up in this particular section now, you see. Actually, this mind is a little complex business in the sense that this element of mind is present everywhere. Mind of night. That is how the Savitri begins in the very first page itself. The mind of night has a mind of its own. Now, you can generally take mind as something, as a faculty by which a certain kind of a formation takes place. Certain kind of a formation takes place, you see. See what is vague, what is diffuse, what is not collected and all that thing, a sort of a formation starts taking place. Mind is a measuring instrument. It kind of divides and breaks and then gives a certain form to things like. In that sense, mind is a measuring instrument basically. So the formation starts with the mind. So night has a mind. Same way, I will even say the void has a certain mind. The inconscience has a certain mind. The physical nature, matter, has a certain mind. Life has a certain mind. Then you have mind proper, mind. And then you go further up, you have got a spiritual mind. You go further up, you have got super mind. You see. Now, so the whole hierarchy of mind, all the way up to Satchidananda, goes from mind of night straight like that. See. So, mind is something which is to be understood as a device, so to say, as a mechanism, as something which brings a form into existence. It gives a kind of a shape to things, you see, definiteness, you see, that way. It measures, breaks, and produces things. So, in other words, you take like this, what is spaceless, what is timeless, what is infinite, what is eternity. It is a kind of an unbroken continuity. Unbroken continuity. But now if you want to bring hours and minutes and seconds and things like that in time, you want to bring distinct locations and places like that in space, then it is a play of mind which comes to intuition. Mind starts operating. So the finiteness to the infinite gets introduced with the appearance of mind. With the appearance of mind, you see. So that way, the finiteness has to be there, the individuality has to express itself, so that individuality expression, so mind in that sense is a creative. Although in our state, in our consciousness, at our level of evolution, mind is an analytical tool. It will break, dissect, cut like that, which means that it is really trying to understand bit by bit, smaller thing like that, continuously, you see. So here, now, we are entering into life mind in this particular section. So this whole description of this canto and the next canto also is a description of the evolution of consciousness from matter to life to mind. how the entire evolution has taken place over courses of years, millions and millions of years, how things have evolved. This is what we have got here in the descriptions here. And Shebendhu has written a long essay, The Theory of Evolution, in Record of Yoga, in Record of Evolution, how through the whole thing and in the early stages of only life, how the vital forces were strong and dominating and powerful, Rakshasas, Pishachar, demons, titans, giants, all those things, they were really there. They were really there because there was no mind control also at that point of time, you see. They were there, you see. So they were a fact of evolution and they had to disappear. See, in a certain sense, it was necessary also. If matter which is very rigid, which is very firm, which is unmoving, has to be stirred up, then you have to really push a lot of life force into it. And life played that role very beautifully in that sense to awaken, to stir up matter completely, you see. A third creation, yeah.
Yeah, ask a question. What is
Huh?
mind of night?
Mind of night.
What is it? In the hierarchy.
Yeah. See, night has a mind. Night has. See, I will say mind is a faculty at that place which receives, which is open, which is governed, which is dominated by the powers of inconscience. Powers of inconscience. Completely, you see. Mind of night. Mind of night, you see. And not only dominated, but also it fixes it, firms it, makes it firm. See, when mind enter into matter, when mind enter into inconscience, so to say, at that point, inconscience, before entry of mind into inconscience, mother says, was very pliable, very plastic, it could be molded, it could be shaped, like that thing. But with the entry of mind, at that stage into it, it made it rigid, very firm. So as a result of that, because it has become very firm, very rigid, sticking to itself, to bring about a change is not an easy job. To bring about a change is not, because it is already fixed up itself now. So the mind has a power to resist change now. So it is, although on the one hand it is playing a certain positive role to give a firmness to things, that firmness is coming in the way of moldability, of taking it forward, you see. So mind of night is something which receives the powers of darkness. The physical mind which is receiving the powers of darkness, that is the mind of night. Now, the most significant thing which has happened in Shivandu's yoga is the mind of light. In contrast to mind of night, you have the mind of light. Mind of light is, now this mind is open to the higher light, to the supramental light and force, and it can move with that light and force, mind of light. So the entry of mind of light into evolution now is a very big leap in the progress of sadhana itself, you see, of the yoga itself. That now the physical mind, which was until now dominated by night, physical mind which was dominated by the night, is now opening itself to light, to supramental light and force. That is mind of light, you see. So, mind of night is something very firm. See, mind of night, as I said, gives a sort of firmness to what has been formed. Firmness to it. Otherwise, the hungry void would have swallowed up all that would have been created. You create something and the void will swallow up. To prevent the swallowing by the void, you need something by which it can be held. And in that sense, mind of night is helping the forms getting swallowed by the void. By the void. So it is playing a certain role. But because it is also rigid, it is not opening to higher possibilities of light. That opening comes gradually. Life comes into matter, stirs up, shakes it up, does something. Mind comes, does, shapes up, like that spiritual mind comes. So that is how you build up the plasticity or the physical. And the physical starts opening more and more to the higher powers of light and force, you see, that we see. So that is the logic, that is the sequence by which things are going to happen, you see.
In the scale of evolution,
Huh?
in the scale of evolution, can we put the mind of night in the beginning to go through the mind of light? I mean, can we put it like this or not?
See, mind of light is directly a projection of supermind into this creation.
Yeah,
But physically, in terms of its location, it is in the physical. You follow? You see, in the hierarchy of placement, it is in the physical. But in the physical, it is directly in contact with the supramental light and force. Mind of light.
of night,
Mind of light.
of light. Ah, yeah, yeah.
Mind of light.
Mind of night.
Now is down below. So it is in the matter, in the physical. It is the physical. It is the physical. So if you want to put geographically the location of mind of light, I will say it is in the physical, in the very cells of the body, but directly in contact with the supramental light and force.
In the sense,
Mind of light. Yeah.
mind of light.
Yeah. When it has opened out, when it is created, you see.
What Mother called cellular mind.
Huh?
Mother said cellular mind.
Yeah, cellular mind, but cellular mind which is open to the powers, higher spiritual powers. Yeah, yeah. So that is a great leap which has taken place in the sadhana of the mother, you see. Mother's yoga, the self, is that, you see, working directly in the physical matter itself, you see, the higher power. A third creation now revealed its face. A mode of body's early mind was made. Body is mind. The physical mind, matter's mind was made, you see, by life. By life, you see. A mode of body's early mind was made. A glint of light kindled the obscure world force. You see, this is creation of the early mind in the matter by life is a small little light, small glint is coming up here, you see. Body's early mind was made. A glint of light kindled the obscure world force. The world force which is a darkness, which was not yielding, which was not able to see anything further. Obscure. It was not able to see anything further. It is that now which has started seeing with the entry of this mind of light, life mind in the picture, you see. A glint of light kindled the obscure world form. A devoured, a driven world with the seeing idea, devoured, gifted. This driven world by the world force is driving, that driven world is driven by the world force, and a dower means gifted. What? With the seeing idea, that it can see there. Now it is a seeing idea means what is the aim, what is the objective, what is the whole process for, etc. etc. It starts getting a kind of a little notion of it, little hint of it at this point of time, an idea, you see. Now this is a seeing idea, it is not yet a real idea. Real idea means what the supramental vision itself sees and looks for. It is not that thing. It is trying, climbing up, and now what is going to happen tomorrow? That is what it sees. The animal creature, they don't have that long vision, but still they have some sort of a perspective of things like that. You see. A glint of light kindled the obscure world form. It devoured, as I told you last time, this line, it devoured a driven world with seeing idea. It's a very complex line metrically, and the only way by which I will scan it as a pentameter is a devoured amphibrach, a driven, another amphibrach, world with Trochee, the seeing, another amphibrach, idea, another amphibrach, you see. If you want to see it as a pentametric line, otherwise it is a 6-footer line, having 6 feet, you see that. You see. A devoured, driven world with the seeing idea, and the beauty of this line is, see, the repetition of D, devoured, driven world, idea. The D alliteration is kind of insistent, it is driving, it is pushing forward, taking it forward, you see. A devoured, a driven world idea. Now you see, Normally, in the traditional poetic aesthesis, the repetition of a word is taken as a very bad thing. If a word is repeated very quickly, then it is not taken very happily by people, you see. But here, word force, word with same idea. It is appearing next time that word appears twice immediately. But then still it has some kind of a different effect. This word here is absolutely necessary. Similarly, word force is also absolutely necessary. They are more just. They are the perfect word. They had to be there. More just, you see. But then at the same time, it doesn't have that kind of a sense of repetition and nonsense. A devoured, a driven word with the same idea. What a line metrically, you see, how it flows beautiful, you see, with the de-alliteration, you see. And arm the act with thoughts dynamic point. Yeah, now this life mind is coming, so it is arm the act, the action of life is now getting a kind of a dynamism with this mind, a certain kind of a direction also, that you have to move like this, you have to move like this, you have to move like this, you see. And arm the act with thoughts dynamic point. A small thinking being, watch the works of time. So that is the kind of summary of this whole process, you see. A small thinking being, a little element, a mental, small manushya, man, being who can think, he has arrived on the scene in life world, you see. A small thinking being, watch the works of time, it is going to see for, because it is seeing the seeing idea. Therefore, it is watching the works of time. It may not perhaps be so much aware of the past, but now it has kind of an opening to see what is going to happen future to that issue. And arm the act with thoughts dynamic point. A small thinking being watch the works of time.